Overwatch 2 is a video game. Between the weird release strategy, backtracking of said strategy, implementation of an even weirder release strategy, history of prior updates, and, you know, Blizzard as a whole, you could say that the writing was on the wall for this thing. Was there anyone who was actually hyped for this? Counting down the days until they could finally experience the same game they've been playing for 6 years? What's even been added? 3 new heroes? Some maps? A fucking battle pass? Shoot me now, just shoot me. In the back of my mind though, I still had this faint feeling of hope that Overwatch 2 might bring back some of the magic of the original, the thing that had been sanded away after years of patches and tweaks and role queues. So, foolishly, I still installed the game and booted it up on launch day, ready to get into a match, and I was greeted with a different queue. Because Blizzard couldn't even make the servers work. At that point, I should have just given up. Every single sign was pointing to the fact that this is gonna be a waste of my time. You could do something else, you know, it was saying to me, something productive, go on a walk, ride a bike, watch a movie, play with a dog, follow along with a Bob Ross episode, and instead, I still played Overwatch 2, because I'm an idiot. So what's the verdict then? Does it indeed suck as much as I was anticipating? No. To be fair though, the bar was set extremely low. Overwatch 2 is just Overwatch, but now Bastion has a hat. Most people would call that a lazy marketing gimmick, and yeah, it is. There's no hiding the fact that this is effectively just a big update that's been pushed as a sequel to get some eyes back on it. But it's also, stay with me now, a tiny bit of a good thing, because instead of being a completely new take on the formula that would have probably been even more of a mess, you've still got most of the things that made the original good. Like the iconic heroes, or the huge variety of map locations, or the art style, which is still the most stylish and eye-catching out of every FPS on the market, like it's not even a contest. Even some of the new stuff is pretty good. Sojourn and Kiriko are alright, but Junker Queen is fucking sick. Lobbing your knife into a crowd of people and yoinking it back, then emptying an entire clip into some poor soul will never not be fun. The new maps are good, Push is a decent mode, the transition to free-to-play hasn't completely butchered the gameplay. For a bit, you might be fooled into thinking that you've been transported back to 2016 and Overwatch is back, baby, let's go! But it also feels hollow. Like what you're playing is a weird bootleg of Overwatch that is kind of on the right lines, but is slightly off in some way or another. Take the character designs, for instance. I think we can all agree that all of the original heroes have brilliant designs, also distinct and representative of each character's role and personality. Reinhardt is this towering suit of armor, Junkrat just looks insane, Reaper's an edgy little goth boy who thinks he's really cool, Roadhog's a big fat guy. You could have never played Overwatch before, but you know what Tracer looks like, you know Mei, you know Diva, because the character design is so effortlessly iconic. Among other reasons. Some of the more recent ones do look a bit shit. Sigma looks like a Paladin's character, but 95% of the cast are brilliantly designed. There's no reason to change them. So Blizzard changed all of them. Why is Genji wearing a tracksuit? Is he going on a run? Why did Reinhardt take his helmet off? Now he's got a weak point. Hanzo got a bit chilly, so he put a vest on. Why is Wrecking Ball wearing a suit? Lucio and Diva look like Power Rangers. Soldier 76 took his mask off because he didn't believe in the virus. Why does Torbjorn look like Guy Fieri? Mercy looks like a wine mum. Junkrat just looks fucking shit. Tracer is easily the most egregious one though. Iconic character, a character design so fucking perfect you put her on the box art, ruined by a redesign. Why did they remove the leg straps? Why? Those were essential for her visual design. Now she's just 80% leg. The visual balance is completely off. It just looks shit. Pretty much all of these look shit. Even some of the ones that aren't a complete train wreck are still worse than the original. Pharah barely looks any different and she still looks awful. Same with Winston. The biggest change to Reaper is that he's now wearing tracky bottoms. I don't think there's a single redesign that actually improves a character. There's a few that are about as good as the old one, but 90% of them are worse, 40% are blatantly worse, 20% are so bad that I actually laughed when I saw them for the first time. Like, why do this? What is to be gained from changing these? Is it just so that you can justify this being a sequel? It's that, isn't it? It's not just the character designs that are off though. These I can ignore. I can even swap to the old version if I care enough, which, yes, I do. What's a bit harder to ignore is this garbage. Remember loot boxes? You remember how everyone on the planet rightly hated them for basically just being a slot machine for kids? Why go down to Ladbrokes when you can get the crushing disappointment of spending 20 quid on nothing right here on your PS4? Well, Overwatch 2 thankfully fixed that problem by replacing them with a battle pass and a Fortnite-style rotating shop and XP challenges. The sooner battle passes die, the happier I'll be. At least opening a loot box gives me dopamine, and I get a couple free ones every now and again. It might make a few children gambling addicts in the process, but I'll take that over the coma these put me in. I don't know how anyone reaches level 80 in these things, let alone beyond that. Leveling up is deliberately slow as shit to try and get you to spend real money to skip levels. Everything is challenge based to limit how much you can grind out in a day. Half of the rewards you get are filler garbage.
It's all connected.
These are literally designed to make you miserable enough to cave and spend real money. And they locked new heroes behind it too. So just worse loot boxes, great. Halo Infinite had the exact same problem with progression. The gameplay's all solid, but you feel like you're constantly in an uphill battle to get anywhere, and then when you do get somewhere, you're handed a pack of bog roll and a middle finger, so it's miserable to play. A smart company would have seen the mistakes Microsoft made and rectified them. Better rewards, better progression, XP being dished out at a rate that isn't snail-paced. But Blizzard are not a smart company. They're the guys who said,
"Do you guys not have phones?"
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
So of course they just did the same thing again. 100 XP for playing a match, 3,000 for queuing for all roles 3 times, fuck you. Even some of the smaller things don't feel right when compared to the original, as if the charm has been sanded away. Like, play of the games, right? I remember a time when these were undeniably the coolest moments of a match, when someone wiped out a whole team, captured the point, and then did a triple backflip. It was cool to see a recap of a tide-turning moment of a game, with this epic music over the top. It was one of the things that made Overwatch really distinct from the rest of the competition. Now play of the games feel like they're picked randomly from a hat, where half of the time it's someone getting 2 kills, and the other half of the time it's just D.Va using her ultimate. Were they always like this? Am I just nostalgic for a thing that was always shit? I'd go back and check, but Blizzard took the opportunity to delete the original Overwatch out of existence. Could always sell it back to us later. They also got rid of medals and voting for the MVP at the end of the match. Why? Apparently it's to reduce toxicity, but how does adding a full scoreboard fix that? Surely that's just gonna increase toxicity. Medals were at least fun visual ways to present how well you were doing while limiting the ammo hardcore gamers had to throw at people, and the scorecard system was a cute little end of the match bonus. Now it's just a boring scoreboard. You don't even get a summary at the end anymore, you have to dig around in your match history to find it. Again though, I can deal with the character redesigns and the awful monetization and the progression and the sanding off of charm if I'm still having as much fun as I did back in 2016. The first year of Overwatch was one of the most entertaining multiplayer experiences I've ever had. It was ridiculous how much of a good time I had playing that game. Yeah, it was jank and a tiny little bit broken, and trying to play it competitively would have probably induced a migraine, but it was also really fucking fun. Every part of that game was designed to maximize the amount of enjoyment you can have in any given moment. Some heroes were OP as shit. Some heroes were designed in a way where even a toddler could curb stomp an entire match, but it was an environment where that kind of insanity was the norm and gave each encounter so much more variety and flair. Rein in the shit that's unfair or broken, sure, but don't outright remove the charm and the distinctions that made each hero so memorable and unique. So instead, Blizzard have spent the last 6 years removing the charm and the distinctions that made each hero so memorable and unique. Mei can't freeze people anymore, Reinhardt's shield gets demolished instantly, Doomfist has been reworked to take out half of the shit that made him fun. Roadhog's hook got nerfed so hard it's like rolling a dice every time you lob it. Torbjorn got turned from a defensive character to a battle NG. They gave Bastion a grenade launcher. Already, I can see the next patch notes.
Junker Queen's knife has been moved to her ultimate slot and made a melee attack, while the charge move has been moved to the original knife slot and made much weaker. This is because people were having too much fun lobbing the knife at people and meat-shotting them.
These characters are more balanced and more fun to go up against, yeah, but is that really worth it when they've been sanded down to such an extent that they feel like knockoffs? What's the point of designing an ice character who can't freeze people? That's like removing fire damage from Pyro. Yeah, it's annoying when I get set on fire, but if you remove that, then the Pyro isn't really the Pyro anymore. Giving Bastion a grenade might solve a balance problem, but it completely goes against the core of the character. He's the fucking turret class. Why are they giving him a grenade? Could they really not think of anything else? This used to be a game that prided itself on its diverse hero lineup, where each character was different from the last and each matchup felt unique and interesting. Now those differences feel less pronounced, to the point where it feels like they've all been built from a set of pick and mix parts. That's not to say that they're not different at all. Obviously Junkrat's gonna play differently to Soldier 76, but most of the cast don't feel nearly as distinct as they used to. Half of that's because the roster is so much bigger now, there's inevitably going to be overlap. But the other half is because they're going out of their way to remove the individuality that made each hero so unique. But what's to be gained from doing this? Isn't Overwatch the game that sells itself on how diverse its roster is? Why are they nerfing the thing that drew so many people to the game in the first place? Well, it's the same reason they added Satan's gift to matchmaking, and this pointless shit. For the sake of competitive. I really loved Overwatch when it released, because it had that stupid, casual tone that I adore. It's the same reason I love TF2, or this shit, because they're designed in a way that incentivizes fun over anything else. Competitive mode was still a thing, obviously, but it felt like casual was what the game was designed around. It's where the wacky, over-the-top tone of Overwatch shone the most. But now the tables have turned. Now competitive is what everything is designed around, where fun comes second to people on Reddit bitching about nerfs. Now heroes are sanded down to be more balanced, but also less distinct. Team play and effective coordination is encouraged way more, good healers are essential to win. Blizzard saw that people were hero stacking with 6 Winstons, but that's not balanced for competitive mode, so nope, no more hero stacking. Then people wouldn't pick characters the way that Blizzard wanted them to, so boom, roll queue, now you have to play with 2 tanks, 2 DPS and 2 healers. Even that wasn't good enough, so let's redesign the entire game to be 5v5, 1 tank, 2 DPS, 2 healers, and let's buff the tanks too, so that playing in a way that Blizzard doesn't want you to is a gigantic unbalanced clusterfuck. But why though? What has actually been gained here? Longer queue times? Is that it? It surely isn't better balance. I don't think the balance has ever gotten better through any of these changes. If anything, I see more steamrolls now than I did before. I don't have a problem with a game being designed around competitive. I might not care for it, but there are a lot of people who clearly do. And I don't have a problem with fixing things that are broken or nerfing mechanics that ruin the flow of the game. I have a problem when you launch a game that owes its identity to its casual fun, then over time turn it into a Frankenstein, just to appeal to an entirely different audience. Because in Blizzard's quest to make an esport, they indirectly destroyed the thing that made Overwatch fun in the first place. The character, the unique identity, the insane tug-of-war matches that felt intense and goofy at the same time. It was fun to just play the game. It didn't matter if you lost, you could lose 5 times in a row and still have had a fun evening. Now you lose once and never want to play the game again. Overwatch just feels hollow now, like a corpse being kept alive against its will. Do I enjoy playing it? I mean, I guess. Enough the thing that I used to love is still intact, but every single time I give it a shot, I just come away miserable. Why am I playing this? I could be doing so much more with my time, but I've fallen in the Overwatch hole again, please shoot me! I just miss the good old days, when multiplayer games could just be fun, and didn't have to be dipped into the cocktail of battle passes, seasons, and competitive viability, where effective live service design is more important than a game just being good. Where you don't just play for fun, but have to grind it out for maximum XP and work towards getting your 63 weekly coins to be able to afford one skin in 5 years. Am I just old and out of touch? Is this what the kids like now? Please don't tell me I'm old, I've seen what that does to people. Overwatch 2 isn't bad. It's fine. But Overwatch used to be great.